Right, whenever you're ready, you can start the meeting now.
All right, good morning. I'll call the June 22nd MPO Coordinating Committee meeting to order. We do have an opportunity for public comment at the beginning and the end of the meeting. Just so everyone does know that comments have been included in the tip that have been submitted. Emily has confirmed that. But first, actually, before public comment, I do want to thank Summit for hosting again. We appreciate it. To President Mark Welka and Matt Jonas for getting everything set up for us. And I believe, yes, I believe that I wanted to mention and welcome Jessica Horan-Kunso. She is the new Director of Planning and Community Development for the county. So we want to welcome her and wish her well in her new position, and thanks for all she's done with the Erie area cog as well. So with that being said, is there any public comment on the agenda items? Hearing no public comment, I'll look for a motion to approve the March 9th, 2022 minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to the 2021 to 2024 current TIP program. Emily, we have a few things to get updated on from Brandon, and then we do have a vote on letter C in the agenda, an amendment to advanced project 97-21 SR 1013 Bridget Williams Road. So Brandon, if you'd like to give us updates first, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, thank you, Chairman May. So since the May 11th TAC meeting, there have been 8 administrative modifications to the 2021 Erie Highway Bridge TIP, and 1 amendment, which we'll cover later, that will require a vote by the coordinating committee today. So to look over the administrative actions we have, a couple of note. The first one is administrative modification number 3. If she can pull it up on the screen here, that one involves, I think, one more page now. There we go. So this one involves adding preliminary engineering phase to 2 projects that are addressing the recent closure of the State Route 6 bridge over Baskins Run in Wayne Township. The first of these projects, which is MPMS number 72424, was created, and I apologize ahead of time. I do have the descriptions flip-flopped in the handout today, but this was created to build a temporary structure during the summer. And the second project, which is MPMS number 118459, is to build a permanent replacement structure then for this location. So $100,000 in state 581 funds were added to project 72424, the emergency project, in this current fiscal year, federal fiscal year 2022, and $144,518 in state 581 funds were added to the subsequent project for the permanent structure. For the funding source for this, the Bayfront Parkway at 6th Street intersection improvement project was used, and the following administrative modification number 4 is used to replenish the funds on that project out in fiscal year 2023 to maintain the project being fully funded. And in that move, the highway bridge line item is used as the funding source for that subsequent move. If there are any questions regarding the replacement structure or the emergency declaration, I've asked the District 1 staff if they would like to, if they can elaborate on any questions there, because this is addressing that bridge that was closed, I believe, earlier in the month of May. So.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. This is
Mhm.
Tom McClellan. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me in the room there.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Yeah, as Brandon alluded to, we had a significant rain event Sunday, May 22nd, or in the Corey area. We had 4 inches of rain in a 6-hour period. And when that happens, we actually have a bridge warn system at PennDOT that when we get these isolated rainstorms that drop a lot of moisture in a certain area, and we have a protocol to go out and check structures. And what happened was, when we got to this bridge over Baskin Run, we realized the wing wall was washed out. So taking care of the public and the safety, we immediately closed the structure that Sunday. And I know it caused a lot of issues for the traffic, and it's a 30-mile detour if you follow the state routes around there. So it wasn't signed the best at first, and some other things, and so we worked through a lot of issues here over the last month. Luckily, we had a meeting with DEP and the Conservation District the next day, that week set up, and we talked about. We spent like 15 minutes talking about how the repair of the structure and how quickly we could get it moving. You still have to follow the environmental rules. You still have to clear the right of way appropriately. We just got the emergency right of way. There's 4 property owners, as you can imagine, on each quadrant of the bridge. So we just got the 4th signature here yesterday and cleared the right of way to allow us to really get in there and start work. But 10,000 vehicles a day use that on Route 6. It's a tourism corridor across the northern part of the state. It's also Bicycle Route Y. And it's definitely an emergency. So we asked for an emergency proclamation right when it happened. That was approved. And as Brandon said, we're have to do some finagling with the money to switch it around. The county will actually fund the project, but then it gets paid back with this emergency 582 monies that Brandon talked about. What we're doing is we're trying to get it open up here by the end of July with a what we call like a temporary roadway to the south. We're going to throw some pipes down in the stream there, cover them up, and then that will allow us to get the road back open and get the traffic moving there again without having to take all the local detours and also the big 30-mile detour. And then we're working towards still trying to finish that structure, the design of it by the end of July, the permanent structure, the replacement structure, and get that put in there. So that's what we've been working on. And everybody's like an emergency have all came together, all the different agencies, the county, and even the locals. So appreciate everybody's help in moving that along. That's all I got on that event.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
So I can continue on with other administrative modifications, unless there are any questions there. Another one of note, I had administrative modification number 6, which you'll see on the screen here, is adding 2 local bridge replacement projects to the 2021 TIP. Both of these projects, the Cider Mill Road Bridge and the Carberry Road Bridge, were funded using a split of Act 13 and local funds on the project. And if there were any other questions on the other administrative modifications, I'd be happy to address those. But if not, we can move on to the informational item.
I don't think there's any questions, Brandon.
Okay, so yep, we'll just go on to the informational item. Was an administrative modification to the 2021 interstate TIP. And this is the I-90 mile marker 18 to mile marker 23, number 13 project. This cost increase adds $2,034,332 in federal NHPP funds to the construction phase of federal fiscal year 2022. The statewide interstate contingency line item is used as the funding source. And due to the amount of cost increase, the addition of funds was submitted to PennDOT central office and received approval on June 3rd of this year. That's what the reference to the CPDM approval is. That's short for Center of Program Development and Management, if anyone had any questions there. So now moving on to the amendment. Wait till that pulls up here. So this was an amendment to, sorry, I don't know if we're looking at the same one.
I made it a little bigger, Brandon. I know sometimes the FCC charts are a little hard to see, so I did, it's the same.
Oh,
one.
okay, I'm seeing it, Yep, okay, we're good. My bad. Okay, so the amendment requiring today's vote is adding the SR 1013 bridge over I-90 project, which is MPMS number 97221 to the 2021 Erie Highway Bridge tip. And this amendment is adding $115,000 in federal BOF funds to the preliminary engineering phase of federal fiscal year 2022. This action requires a vote because it is adding a project to the tip using federal dollars. If approved today, this action will then be submitted as an E-STIP for approval from federal highways. So are there any questions on that before I turn it over to Tim or Emily?
Well, I will just add that the bridge has a history of collisions due to low clearance over the interstate. It has been identified as a decade of investment document, the TYP, and prioritize using the BAM system. So that is why this bridge was selected to move forward with preliminary engineering in this federal fiscal year. But we do, because this is a 2021 project, still on our current tip, we do need a vote to add it, that single phase to the tip, as Brendan said.
Emily, the only other thing I'll add is that Gus Neff from Northeast Township was not able to attend today, but did ask that this be considered, and we appreciate consideration. There's no other questions regarding the project. I'll look for a motion to approve the amendment to advance project 97221.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Second by Mr. Cole. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Emily, also under the current tip, you have some results from the e-ballot from April.
Yes,
Okay.
so to enter into our records, we had an e-ballot vote this April. It was to federalize and advance the rehabilitation of two state-owned bridges, Morehouse Road Bridge over I-90 in Mill Creek and Bargain Road Bridge over I-79 in McCain. The amendment was approved with a vote of 18 in favor, 0 opposed, and 1 abstained. Would anyone like to discuss this motion further?
You said Morehouse and Mill Creek.
Yes, it was Morehouse Road Bridge over I-90 in Mill Creek and Bargain Road Bridge over I-79 in McCain.
And you need a vote on this? We did have a vote, yes. We're just-
Yes, it
We're
has
just
been voted
confirming.
on and approved. So we're just entering it into the records of the coordinating committee.
Okay. All right, moving on, Emily. 2023 tip. There will be several votes that we need to take through item number 5, and just to once again confirm that any comments that have been submitted have been included in the 2023-2026 tip. So Emily, you want to start?
I can do
Going
that.
over? Great.
As you all know, transportation projects in Erie County are evaluated for air quality conformity. So this analysis, which is conducted by PennDOT, determines that the Erie MPO tip meets the Clean Air Act and Transportation Conformity Rule requirements for the 1997 Ozone National Ambient Air Quality Standard. So this document, which is on the screen, is that report saying that we are in compliance with the 1997 Ozone NAAQ. We also have a resolution where the MPO affirms that we understand all of these regulations and that we are in compliance. So before voting on the tip, we need to first vote to adopt the air quality resolution and air quality conformity report.
I'll call for a motion if there are no other questions of Emily on the air quality conformity report and resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the conformity report? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, great, thank you. Moving on, Emily, the adoption of the. Wait a minute, as far as order, do we go with the tip and then down to the self-certification? Okay, all right, so Emily, if you want to update us on the upcoming tip program, please.
All right, so there are 15 additional parts to the tip document, including the project list, the highway bridge project list, interstate project list, and transit project list. We put all of these documents out for public comment for 30 days, and we did receive 23 written public comments back during this time period, which is very good for us. So just to review some of the points that were made in the responses to the public comments. A lot of questions came in about why items from the long-range transportation plan were absent from the TIP projects. And I will say, unfortunately, the timing was not great between the adoption of the LRTP in March and when the project list for the TIP had to be finalized. However, there are many unassigned line items in the TIP, and it's the goal of the MPO to start prioritizing the betterments and the highway bridge projects that were in the LRTP. They will be the ones that receive first consideration for those line items. So as the TIP moves on and is revised and amended, the LRTP will be wrapped into the TIP. So there are a few projects that need to be carried over from the previous TIP because funds will not be obligated by this October. So this includes the creation of bike lanes on French and Green Garden in the city of Erie and the replacement of 3 locally owned bridges in the King Township. So those will have to be added later. They are not currently in the TIP. And the other thing I wanted to mention was that while PennDOT consults with municipal officials for all TIP projects, more complex projects do have their own public comment periods. So those can be found on PennDOT's website. If I can go to the website here. So the current Erie County public meetings, or the 2 TIP projects that are open for public comment right now are the Bayfront Parkway and the Erie Active Transportation Plan project, which is a wayfinding signage project. So whenever a TIP project gets more public input as well as municipal input, they are posted here on this website. So there are certain projects that do have a separate level of public outreach as well as municipal outreach. All right, so that is a review of the public comments we received. So there are multiple other documents, such as the Title VI policy statement, the supervision procedures. We can adopt all of these documents with one single vote. So if anyone would like to make a motion to adopt all of these documents, you can do so now.
Anybody like to make the motion to adopt 2023-2026? Yep.
Yeah, motion.
Right, I have a second from Mr. Bowl. Any discussion on the tip? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That'll wrap things up, Emily. We need to have a vote on the approval of the self-certification resolution.
Yes, so, scroll down a little bit.
It shows that the MPO is in compliance with all federal regulations, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so it lists the federal regulations that the MPO as a federal organization must comply with, and it attests that we are in compliance with all of those federal regulations. So it will come up eventually. It is also back there on the table for anyone who is actually in the room today. Here we go. Here's the self-certification resolution. So if anyone would like to make a motion for the self-certification resolution to be adopted, they can do so now.
Do I have a motion to approve the self-certification resolution?
I'll make the motion.
All right, motion by Mr. Bowl.
I'll second
All right, second by Mr. Walker. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, great. I do want to thank Emily and all the representatives from PennDOT in their efforts in coordinating and working on the tip that we just approved. So well done. Thank you, Emily. Moving on then, agenda item number 6, local federal aid route guidance. Emily, I know we talked about this at the last meeting. So do you want to update us real quick? Or just give us an overview?
Sure. At the last meeting, the technical advisory board discussed changing the guidance for the local federal aid route. So moving from a single year to a 2-year application process, so that if bids come in low, they can go to other projects and there is time and flexibility to make those changes. This would also mean that if a bid comes in low, then it is still the municipality's responsibility to pay anything that is needed in the future. So if there are any cost overruns, the municipality would have to pay. So those are the 2 main changes to the guidance that the TAC discussed. So if this board would like to make those changes to the local federal aid route line item, you can vote on that now.
All right, do I have a motion to adopt the changes, correct?
Yes.
To the LFAR guidelines.
That's that motion.
And then Mr. Bowl, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Anyone
Nay.
opposed?
This is-
Sorry, for the nay votes, so we have you on record. Can you state your name?
John Sebesta, Mill Creek Township.
Kim Clear of Mill Creek Township.
Motion carries, correct, Emily?
Yes, the motion still carries. There's 2 no votes.
Okay, and as of now, the submittal date is July 18th, is that correct, for 2023?
Yes,
Okay.
so, it's in about 4 weeks, on July 18th will be the due date for the local federal aid route applications. So I will be reaching out to the 10 municipalities that own local federal aid routes, to notify them that they're eligible, the time period, the changes that were just made, as well as what local federal aid routes are in the areas. So be looking for an email from me if you're in one of those municipalities. And then they'll be due back to me July 18th.
All right, great. Okay, thanks, Emily. You just had a motion or a mention of the next meeting at the subcommittee of the local use fee.
Yes, I just wanted to make a quick mention that the $5 local use fee subcommittee will be meeting July 14th at 10 a.m. at the county planning office. So I will be sending out calendar invites to those subcommittee members.
Great. Thank you, Emily. Ron Johnson, you have project updates for us?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. A couple of updates to let everyone know about. Starting with Depot Road, be the first section there, AO8. We just got the right-of-way plan approved in the beginning of June, and negotiations have begun with the affected property owners. All of the utility work that was going on that was holding up that right-of-way process has all been completed. And I think that, yeah, we've updated that let date to December 8th. It's due to the ongoing negotiations with the affected property owners. So still should be let this year, built next year. That's the idea. Updates on the airport projects, still on hold and approved. The Bayfront. I'm sure there hasn't been too many updates.
The bridge is open, the bridge of Soldiers and Sailors is open now.
Yeah, yep, perfect. Yeah, that was held, the ribbon cutting for the soldiers and sailors was held on May 25th. So that was a great milestone to celebrate. We do have the environmental agencies reviewing the NPDES permit currently. We had to send it back for a few more comments. So that's moving along. Again, it's the project still on schedule for. Last project I wanted to mention was Nehemiah Road. We did again adjust that let date to September 15th. Okay, that's all right. We're actually just waiting on the constructability review internally in our office, and then we need to get those final construction plans signed, and then it's ready to go out to bid. So that one's nearing completion. We hope to get that one out here before the end of the year. Everything goes well. If there's any other questions on any projects and anything specific, just reach out to me anytime.
Any other questions of Ron right now? All right, thank you, Ron. Then moving on to a few different federal grants. Running here to provide any updates. Online.
Ronnie, can you hear us?
Hi, yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes, sorry about that. I did email Emily with some just general updates about the 2020 census. There's an update for that. So for the 2020 decennial census update, the Census Bureau did finalize their criteria for defining urban areas based on the 2020 census, basically saying that an area will qualify as urban if it contains at least 2,000 housing units or has a population of at least 5,000. And according to the updated timeline, the Census Bureau is scheduled to publish their Federal Register notice by the end of fall 2022, which will announce the qualifying urban areas based on the census results. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that the Safe Streets and Roads for All, NOFO, as you guys know, applications are due September 15th, but some recent, this month, there were some webinars released for different questions or just like how to apply for the grant. And all those webinars are recorded and available on their website. Sorry, go ahead. Did somebody have a question? Sorry. No? Okay. All those webinar series are recorded and there's a link to that. And I can provide that to the MPO again. Let me see, any other info. Okay, so the another thing that I brought to the MPO's attention is that the Reconnecting Communities pilot discretionary grant program, there will be a webinar for potential applicants, or there was a webinar last month, but it's recorded, I believe. So there's a website that hosts all of the discretionary programs and things like that that's coming from Bill. So it's like a one central hub for everything. So I can provide that link to you guys. I'm not sure if I provided that to Emily or not, but that's kind of like your go-to spot for all the grants and anything pertaining to those grants and information, contact info, and also grants coming out of FTA and other DOT agencies are on there as well, not just federal highways. So I'll forward that information again, so it's at the top of your inbox. And as always, reach out to me with any questions or concerns that you have. And great job, Emily, and to the MPO and to PennDOT on getting the tip adopted, and just the progress has been from start to finish. So yeah, it's been great working with you guys on the tip and answering and asking questions and getting responses along the way. I've learned a lot. This is my first tip round, being the community planner for federal highways, but representing for Erie, for the specialist for Erie. So yeah, so thank you guys, and that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate your help as well.
Yes, thank you. If I could mention really quickly, I was talking to Courtney Lyle at PennDOT recently about possibly having a training to help municipalities apply for these federal grants and then execute the federal grants. All of these grants that are coming out of FHWA and FTA are wonderful, the Safe Streets and Roads for All, Reconnecting Communities, but as federal grants, a lot of our municipalities can struggle with the application process, as well as the execution of the federal grants with all the different requirements that are needed. So we are hopeful that within the next few months that Courtney Lyle will be able to set up a training session through the MPO to discuss these issues with the federal grants that are coming through. So that more municipalities, more organizations in Erie County can go after these grants and then be successful at executing them into construction projects. So we are very hopeful, and thank you very much for all of your help, Ronnie, through disseminating all of this great information about these grants that are coming out.
Great. Any other updates then, Emily? Is there, okay,
Actually, I
Kevin?
believe, Kevin McCullough was going to talk about the Arlie application, which is a state grant. So not a federal grant, but it's a state fund. If Kevin McCullough is on the line.
Yep, I can do that. Can you hear me, Emily?
Yes.
All right, great. Yep, can you hear me? Okay, I just want to make sure you can hear me.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on the Arlie application announcement. Most of you may already be aware of it. Hopefully you are, but we just wanted to give just kind of a public service announcement that funding program, the application window is open. It opened on June 1st and it closes at the end of this month on June 30th. So just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. The program will continue to prioritize safety enhancements. And again, we encourage the municipalities to put in for it. The nice thing about this now is that matching funds and in-kind services are not required for the Arlie funding program, but those applications which include receive a higher score. But again, I encourage municipalities to put in for this Arlie application. Brandon is going to throw a link out there for you, to get you to that screen where the application is. And again, I would just encourage you to put in for the Arlie. It used to require matching funds and now it doesn't require matching funds. So it doesn't hurt to put in for projects that you feel would, again, improve safety, those types of things with regards to the Arlie program. So again, Arlie is the automated red light enforcement program. So I just wanted to just kind of make sure everybody was aware of that program, that it's out there. And with that, I'll also echo Ronique's sentiments and just say thank you to everyone. It's been, I know it seems like we're always updating the tip and the program, but again, appreciate the work of the Erie MPO and of the coordinating committee and technical committees, all the people out there, the districts, our federal highway and FTA representatives, again, the staff here in the program center. It's a big team that puts that all together, and we really appreciate all the good work of everybody to kind of come together and pull a draft tip together. There's just a lot of work that goes into that. So again, thank you, Emily. Thank you, Courtney, and the district for all your good work. And Brandon, again, on our team here in central office, again, I know it's his first tip update as well. So there's been a lot of learning, a lot of things that have been going on throughout the process. So I just want to echo those sentiments and thank everybody for all your hard work in getting us to where we are today. So thanks again. So any questions on Arlie? All right, I'll turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Anything else to add regarding the grants, Emily? Okay. We also have another opportunity for hearing of the public. At this time, is there any other comments on all the
My name is Freda Tepfer. I do have comments to offer at this time.
Okay.
So I did send in comments to the tip, and Emily sent me back a PDF of their responses. I hope those responses were shared with the members of the MPO, because that is of interest. I would like to mention that I think it'd be a good idea to have a study session with the Erie City Council. That's an opportunity for the public to attend an event in a user-friendly way, in time and place, and find out what the heck the tip is about and the MPO is about, because it's kind of most people are not aware of the MPO, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on that the MPO does, and it is assumed that the public has commented because the MPO has done something. So a study session with the city council would be a good opportunity daylight the activities of the MPO a little bit more. An example of that is that in response to my comments, the EMTA said that the public has an opportunity to comment through the MPO public comment process, which is, in my opinion, fairly ridiculous to say. The EMTA ridership barely is able to get to the EMTA meetings because that process has been made so cumbersome that, but to expect them to figure out that there is an MPO and that the MPO is addressing the EMTA and to find a way to attend their meetings and comments, I think that's a disingenuous statement that provides public comment for EMTA ridership. Again, I just still distressed that there's a plan in process and there has not been a single iota of public involvement to date on the EMTA plan. In the response to my comments, Emily wrote, the MPO acknowledges the public involvement, and this is relating to the Bayfront. The Sassafras pedestrian bridge has not taken place yet. It is the hope of the MPO to coordinate with the Convention Center Authority to combine public involvement for the bridge and the Convention Center's Market House. I think that there's a concern from some of us that this bridge, when is it going to be open to the public, since it will enter a public facility? Is it going to be open only sometimes and closed sometimes? How safe is it going to be? I just feel like it's kind of a little bit of a closed loop. Also, you with great fanfare adopted the ozone conformance document. And while it's a good thing that Erie County is in conformance with ozone, that is a macro scale measure of air pollution. And micro scale measure, which is more specific to projects and more specific to environmental justice, are micro scale impacts. What are the impacts to the residents of a neighborhood or the people who ride a school bus if 500 trucks are going to turn in front of where the school bus is? There's nothing with the Bayfront project, with all kinds of projects that actually address the kinds of air pollution that occur from vehicular activity related to a specific project for a specific neighborhood. And in my opinion, that's a failure of environmental justice. Another comment that was made to my comments was that environmental justice will be addressed at the design stage of projects. That's kind of late. The scoping stage is when environmental justice should be addressed. By the time there's a design process, you've already decided that something doesn't warrant an environmental assessment. You've already excluded it from further environmental analysis. Also, I hope that Ronique Bishop makes the website about the grants available to the public, and that eligible nonprofits are also made aware of these funding mechanisms that were mentioned during the update. I didn't make these comments before you voted on the tip because I knew you were going to vote to pass the tip anyway. But if it's going to be a really open process and there's really going to be real attention paid to environmental justice, I think a better job needs to be done. Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, the next meeting, the tech advisory is August 10th at 10 a.m. At Summit. We covered a lot of material today. I guess I would encourage people now that we are having hybrid meetings, that Summit Township has a great facility for those to attend, and just encourage people. I think more interaction, in person is a good thing. So, please consider in the future, if you have time, that we are meeting in person as well, and I encourage you to attend. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Did you say that was here on the 10th
Yep.
at 10?
Yes.